Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This budget shows that after years of decline, this Labour government is building a stronger and more secure economy, one that works for working people in Stevenage and the villages across our constituency. We are beating the forecasts, with growth upgraded to 1.5% this year, and wages rising faster in our first year than in the entire first decade under the Conservatives. But this is all for nothing if working people can't see and feel positive changes in their day-to-day lives. That's why this budget makes fair and necessary choices. Choices to cut the cost of living, renew our public services and bring stability to the economy. For families in Stevenage, the cost of living has been a real pressure. So I welcome the measures that will put money back into people's pockets. £150 off average energy bills, rising to £300 off for those who need it most, alongside freezing prescription charges and, for the first time in 30 years, freezing rail fares. That means commuters travelling from Stevenage or Nebworth will not see the annual hike they endured year after year under the previous government. Take, for example, one of our fantastic young apprentices from Airbus, who wrote to me before the budget asking the Chancellor to consider a rail freeze to ensure he could afford to do the job he loves. When working people call, this Labour government answers. We're cutting NHS waiting lists with 250 new neighbourhood health centres, millions more appointments and freezing prescription costs. For Stevenage, where the Lister Hospital serves not just our town but surrounding villages, this investment into our infrastructure and our patients is vital. And we are doing all this while reducing borrowing every year. So interest rates, already cut 5 times since the election, can keep falling, helping families with mortgages and businesses with investment. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, let's deal with the nonsense we've heard from the benches opposite. We've been told that this is a budget for Benefit Street, that Labour is hiking taxes to pay for welfare, and that borrowing is spiralling out of control. Here are the actual facts. Borrowing falls every single year of this Parliament, moving to surplus by 2028. That is fiscal responsibility, not the chaos of unfunded tax cuts that crashed the economy under the last Conservative government. And scrapping the 2-child benefit limit isn't a handout, it's an investment. A child growing up in poverty is less likely to work as an adult and earns 25% less by the age of 30. Lifting 450,000 children out of poverty is both morally right and economically smart. And on taxes, the biggest changes fall on those with the broadest shoulders: high-value property owners, landlords who pay less tax than the tenants, and online giants who have dodged their fair share for too long. Compare that to the Conservatives opposite, who now talk of £47 billion of spending cuts, hitting working people the hardest, and still leaving public services crumbling, and they have some cheek after 14 years of doing just that. And that is the equivalent of firing every police officer twice over. And as for reform's fantasy economics, billions of cuts with no plan as to where they fall, that's complete unbridled chaos. That is why we need a sensible Labour budget. That's what we have, and that's why I will be supporting it tomorrow night. Thank you.